Travis Wayne Goodsell. I was about to get ready for my day. I was just reviewing the news, saw CNN doing a "Are we in the Civil War? It may be closer than you think" video 28 minutes ago. I just uploaded the video. And then found this from the Salt Lake Tribune 44 minutes ago. Peggy Fletcher Stack. The Church of Jesus Christ has lost the largest donator of tithing. Donator. James Huntsman, you suck. You called it donation and you lost your case. From the wealthiest Utahn. He resigned from the LDS Church. Utah native Jeff T. Green, believed to be the wealthiest person to hail from the Beehive State. He pledged last month to give away at least 90% of his wealth to philanthropic causes during his life or at his death. Yeah, so? Are you giving it to the poor? No. Oh, you're making me continue to read? Good, you're not requiring payment. So I can continue with the video. And here we have men's walking shoes for wear all day without tired. What the hell does that mean? Apparently it's enough to allow me to read the article for free. So I won't complain too much. I'll just mock it. Green, who now lives in Southern California. Oh, well, that's why he had to leave. He's no longer a Utah native. Is the CEO and chairman of the Trade Desk. I have no idea what that is. But apparently it made him wealthy. And advertising technology, well, okay, that wasn't what I was thinking it was. I hope they didn't do that ad. He founded in 2009 and has a net worth pegged. Oh, that's funny, Peggy. At $5 billion. The One Mormon prophet is getting close to that after his stock investment. If you heard about that news story the other month. But the former Latter-day Saint missionary and Brigham Young University graduate won't be giving any of his money. Way to word it, Peggy. Good job. To the state's largest fraudulent claim of a nonprofit, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Indeed, Green is resigning his membership in the Utah-based faith. See, that's good. She knows that it's not the Western New York-based faith. You paying attention to that, Mormons? Do you understand what that means? Utah-based faith. Along with 11 family members and a friend. Wow. I can see the advertising now. Leave the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and gain 10% of your income. Bring your family and friends. Tell them they too can get this 10% increase. Well, probably needs a little work. That was off the cuff. You know, at least I didn't have chocolate chip goodness trailing behind me. I mean, I do have nothing to lose. But here's a quote. He wrote a letter to President Nelson? That's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to go through your bishop. And then he sits you down and threatens you to remain in the church. Although I have deep love for many Mormons and gratitude for many things that have come into my life through Mormonism, I have not considered myself a member for many years. He stopped reading the Book of Mormon. He stopped attending church. And I'd like to make clear to you and others that I am not a member. I'm not a member. That's been very clear. Green writes in December 20th letter to Church President Russell M. Nelson, while I left the Mormon Church more than a decade ago, not believing, attending, or practicing. See? I told you. That's why he fell. I have not officially requested the removal of my records until now. Nope, I'm refusing to request the removal so that the church can continue to commit fraud. We are not Christian. Christians do not keep membership records like the church does. The manner in which the church keeps membership records creates a fraudulent condition when you have a mass exodus, for example. And the church just went through their second wave earlier this month. At the end of last month, the church announced it. My brother can't find 15 million Mormons, and so the church is not releasing membership stats to the Utah government, as they always have. While most members are good people trying to do right. Huh? Which church are you talking about again? I am not seeing most members being good people and trying to do right. They're the rare, precious, peculiar gems, diamonds in the rough, or the good Mormons are. I believe the church is actively and currently doing harm in the world. Yes! Get 'em! The church leadership is not honest about its history, its finances, and its advocacy. That's an interesting terminology. I am the advocate with the Father. But I think he's using it in a different context. Let's check the full definition range. A person who publicly supports or recommends a particular cause or policy. Okay. So he's complaining that they're doing harm because they're not being honest about their advocacy of the position they take and who they support. That's how you do it, James Huntsman. I believe the Mormon Church has hindered global progress in women's rights, civil rights, racial equality, and LGBTQIAPO+. Come on, Peggy, keep up with the times. They've added more letters. She only puts LGBTQ+. But it's from his letters, so it's in quotes, so he is unaware that there's IAPO+. Because of Green's views on LGBTQ rights, she did blow it. Peggy. He has chosen Equality Utah for his family foundation's first major donation of only $600,000. We made this investment sizable and publicly. Why not $1 billion? To send a message that Equality Utah is going anywhere, Green says. It is my hope and that of my foundation, Data Philanthropy, that this is the first of many contributions to Equality Utah. He actually told Nelson that he's giving to Equality Utah because the church has failed. Remember, I did that video yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. So many videos, so much time gone by, about how Nelson just abandoned Mormons. Read over the church news for the week. Nothing about stepping in to save lives, to rescue those suffering, to pull people out of poverty. So here again, another Mormon recognizing what we all recognize. Church has fallen, but they've made too much money off of Mormons to care. He notes that almost half of the funds will go to a new scholarship program to help LGBTQ+ students in Utah, including those who may need or want to leave BYU. A greater exodus. The way Utah's predominant faith uses its own wealth is an issue that troubles Green. Should everybody. The church has amassed more than $100 billion in assets. That's in quotes. Dude, you didn't pay much attention to the whistleblower. They're at $200 billion for just tithing. Just tithing. They have dozens. As part of my lawsuit against the church, I gave the court, for the public record, knowing that they would deny my case, the whole list of sources of income for the church. It was multiple pages long. And just tithing brings in $200 billion after profiting off of coronavirus. I have to pause and take a break. Hold on. All right, I'm back. So the church has amassed, and he puts in quotes, and I've corrected it, it's over $200 billion in assets just through tithing alone. And he continues, that is all derivative of the widow's mite. No, they're following the widow's mite. I've done the videos too for this. I've done the videos for all of this. YouTube are committing an act of treason and terrorism and sedition by supporting this criminal organization in censoring my videos from you. Which doesn't even measure the real estate and less liquid assets. Yeah, so he does recognize there are others, but They're trillions, guys. Not billions. Not hundreds of billions. Trillions. This money comes from people, often poor. Done that video, who wholeheartedly believe you represent the will of Jesus. He knows them by his fruits. You can't claim to be doing the will of Jesus and not do the will of Jesus. In case you don't know, Jesus is a character found in the New Testament Gospels, which were originally apocalyptic literature, but changed to historical documents by Emperor Constantine at the Nicene Creed. They give expecting, oh, he knows about the protection racket. They give expecting the blessings of heaven. I again refer you to my video last night. What good is the church for if we have to do everything ourselves? I mean, dude, the least you can do is give me credit. His former faith should be doing more to help the world and its members with its wealth. Instead, I think the church has exploited its members. You think? You just think, huh? And their need for hope. Nobody wants to listen to me, but this, I'm sure, already has 100 billion views. To build temples, build shopping malls. Yes, Mormons hope to have shopping malls built. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints shopping mall. My dad ran the handcart company in Southern California as a member of the 70. Anybody remember that in those days? Cattle ranches, fund Ensign Peak Advisors. There was an incident that occurred where the certain brother who currently lost 15 million Mormons and has lost him, as he's now coming out and exposing. Dear God, what a life. Fund Ensign Peak Advisors. No, you 5 billion and you don't know how this works. Tithing is for Ensign Peak Advisors. That's it, that's all. He even did the shortened version and the long version of the videos to explain this all to us. He only deals with tithing. The part about the shopping mall was that was funded through a different investment company, I think Deseret Mutual or something like that, and he was saying that they laundered the money from Ensign Peak Advisors into the two others that were used to fund the mall. And then Max Roth, Fox 13 News Utah, in May 2018, after the solemn assembly where Nelson gets up and says a major city yet to be determined in Russia after the 2017 Orrin Hatch tax bill for the poor? You mean for the church? Because the church, reported by Max Roth, says the church had about a dozen different LLC companies in which they obtained $32 billion. And Nelson then says, hey, we're working with the Russians to destroy America. So apparently, despite his billionaire status, he is unaware of the church's criminal operation and how they purposely keep every single source of income separated from the others so that no one person, except for the board, knows the full asset value of the church. His own mortgage-backed securities, rather than alleviating human suffering in or out of the church. See, the church is able to silence me and send me death threats, which lead to the destruction of my main source of income, where I'm going to eventually no longer be doing videos, of which others are stealing the spotlight because of YouTube's attacks on me. And so, are you seriously not wanting to believe me, guys? Here's another witness against the church. And he's getting it wrong, but nonetheless, he's still a witness. Green concludes his 900-word missive by saying it is his formal resignation effective immediately without any waiting period. Like going to see the bishop and be extorted and threatened. The divorced dad of 3. Oh, well, yeah, he's evil. No wonder he left. Lost his testimony. He's not reading the scriptures, not going to church, he's divorced. He's a deadbeat dad. Is not going to change my mind, he writes. After today, the only contact I want from the church is a single letter of confirmation to let me know that I am no longer listed. I just, again, did that video for you guys. Dear God. He will still be on the membership records, but it will show resigned. So that, church says, well, when you want to come back, we need to let the bishop know of your previous condition so that he can ask you interrogating questions. So, are you sure you want to come back, do you? Plus, you get guys like my brother to then search for these people so that the bishops can know that they are these people who left the church. Oh, I see you left the church in 2008. What? What do you mean? Well, it says right here, you were excommunicated for saying F you to the church. Oh, yeah, I guess I did, didn't I? This move is far from how the young Latter-day Saint boy and other signers growing up in the bosom of the church once imagined their future. Yeah, I never imagined this future. That the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints would be the great and abominable church. That was never on my mind as a kid. For each of them, the journey to this moment has taken a different path. with its own twists, turns, and tumults, but all say they have landed at a place of peace and solace. Who cares about peace and solace? Lock the church up. That gives lasting peace. And then perfect picture. Green's sister, Jennifer Gaerte, or Gaillard, if it's Francais, Franca, had lots of questions about her faith as a young Latter-day Saint, but eventually followed a fairly traditional path, went to BYU. I was trying to figure out how to incorporate this in a video. I got this in the mail Saturday. It's Rick's. And they refuse to acknowledge that. I did not graduate from BYU, Idaho. It was Rick's. Sent her boyfriend on a mission, gave him a Dear John, married some other guy within 2 weeks, married him in a Latter-day Saint temple, had 4 sons, and moved to Davis County. That's the traditional path of Mormons? Davis County? Oops. I didn't follow the traditional covenant path. We were, she says now, that perfect, picture-perfect Mormon family. Yeah, the outward appearance. See, I think that's could explain the cause of the Exodus, is that Mormons were born and bred to believe that you decorate your home, you give all the appearances, you show up to church, you show to the temple, you do the routine, you read, ponder, and pray, and that magically produces happiness. I think she's onto something there. And that's idolatry, idol worship, where objects, images, anything created or made, even the human body, are just idols. They have no moral, spiritual, ethical powers, and they therefore can't bestow any of such onto human beings by association or contact. And yet, that's what she's saying. That picture-perfect Mormon family, in quotes. She was deceived. It's not about putting pictures of Jesus or the temple or of your wedding or your kids on the walls. It's not about going through the routines, waking up, praying for every meal, praying for this, praying for that. It's not about any of that. The true doctrine, I'm not sure if I got it onto Restoring Joseph Smith's Church of Christ channel or not. I've been under full-on attack on that channel. But I, again, previously done that video, and I've been covering it the whole time on these other main channels. It's all about listening. You get an idea, you manifest it in the flesh. You don't keep it a sacred secret, a spiritual witness, and tell others they can't judge you because you're never going to manifest it in the flesh, because you might be judged. You know, the fruits of righteousness are not a picture of the temple on your wall. until 7 years ago when traumatic death of her husband's brother rocked her spouse, their marriage, and their world. My husband was angry with God. Yeah, stages of grief, which people are brainwashed into. And for months, again, I do videos warning about the dangers of psychology. They're the ones telling you about how to recognize grooming or signs that you have mental illness or the stages of grief. And in telling you this, you are being indoctrinated into believing them. And so then you apply it, self-fulfilling prophecy, to your examples. And I take a tangent here to tell you about when my wife abandoned me. Abandoned. My mom was at the kitchen table. I show up, and she's working on the Relief Society lesson for Sunday, and it's about Mormon divorce. The Relief Society president assigned my mom, knowing about me. I was not divorced, not yet. And so my mom had a book by a psychologist about the stages of emotions after a divorce. And so she asked me, well, let's see if you went through any of these stages. So I started telling her what I went through. She was looking through the list, trying to go through a checklist. 1, and then 2, and then, wait a minute, hold on, Travis, I can't find this one. Yeah. She then closed her book, set it aside, pulled out a piece of paper, got her pencil or pen or whatever she was using, and took notes from what I was telling her. My real life experience did not conform to the psychology categorization trap that they try to indoctrinate the world with. And so he blamed the Mormon God, refused to go to church. She understood. Good for you. You stuck by your husband. There's a certain other ex-Mormon who was betrayed by her family-in-law, and her husband is not seeming to stand up for her, to defend her against his family. He does not seem understanding. She continued to take her children to church. Oh, it's now her children. But they were ostracized because their dad wasn't attending. Oh, daddy's the bad example. My daddy's evil. Yeah, I know what that's like. My children refused to communicate with me. They had been fully indoctrinated by their mother that I was the one who caused their mother to abandon the marriage, kidnap them, and flee the country to get support by the church and the Canadian government to get a divorce without my consent. And so some of the kids from the ward even threw rocks at him? What the hell? This past week, Utah news was all abuzz about the new TikTok trend of sending death threats to schools. Apparently they're moving away from Tide Pod challenges to get people to commit suicide. Now they're going after, hey, you can be a terrorist. We're like Al-Qaeda, only we don't call ourselves Al-Qaeda so that we can get away with it with the law. You guys are brainwashed. You're doing the will of other people to commit crime. She went into survival mode. Yeah. She wasn't trying to save her marriage and family. She was having a faith crisis. At the time, because she was an idol worshiper, the image of perfection turned out to be fake. Hollow on the inside. Because it's idol worship. At the time, Gael. I don't know, the Spanish of Gaerte sounds a little more exciting. Was serving in the Young Women's Presidency. So she was secretary or just a counselor. She went to the bishop. Yeah, that was a mistake. I need to be released. But he replied, didn't I just tell you this? Did I not just tell you this? The bishops are in place to threaten and extort Mormons to conform and comply. If I release you, you'll go inactive. How did I know? I'm a prophet, and I knew it. To that she responded, if you won't release me, I'll release myself. The bird, Bishop. The bird. I learned about that on my mission. New York, New York, Massapequa Park. Elder Gale finally realized, you know what, maybe I should actually train you how to be a missionary. As it was his last month. And so we went to follow up on a referral appointment. And so we're walking down the neighborhood, and a guy, long hair, hard rock style, sees us coming and immediately turns, goes back into the house, and as he's about to close the door, he yells, "The bird, man, the bird!" Just hilarious. And I'm like, the bird? What? Oh, you mean the middle finger. Okay. I never knew that from high school. The family moved from Woods Cross. Yep. Pulled over by a cop in Woods Cross. See, the cops in Bountiful pulled me over only to ask me if I'd seen any suspicious activity from the school. Apparently, there were some kids running amok that night at the school, and they were trying to catch them. But in Woods Cross, they were trying to harass me. Attended for a little while, but eventually stopped going altogether. Again, this is the Exodus. She is revealing the Exodus that I've been going over with you. Gotta take another break. Hold on. And so, faith in Jesus, loyalty to the church, is insignificant. It does not help relieve suffering. The church abandons you to yourself. You're on your own. Again, what good is the church if you have to do everything yourself? If you have to be self-reliant, strong, and faithful, during times of crisis, where the funerals, Exmo Lex covered this the other month, you cannot talk about their life. You have to talk about Jesus. The last time people have to celebrate someone's life and the church refuses and denies you. This is why there's an exodus. The church has no power to save Mormons. None. And Mormons are figuring that out. And they have no choice but to leave. What good is it to go to church, to have your picture-perfect life, but to continue to suffer? Since then, Gaerte. She is now Gaerte, whether she's Gaerte or not, because I like that pronunciation better. Who is a social worker? And teacher. If only she actually was able to teach and not read from the curriculum manuals. Has had to figure out who I am apart from the church, because it was so ingrained in me. Yeah, that's the baggage. And I've done those videos too. Dear God. You know, it's not just that you have to figure out whether you believe in God or not. And that, oh, yeah, I guess I need to buy new underwear. You actually have to think differently, because the Mormon church taught her to have an outward appearance lifestyle. That is what gives healing. That is what gives you salvation. That's what gives you peace. It's a psychological trap. Psychologists know this, and they use it against us. Likewise, the church. I keep hearing there was a phase on the commercials and on the news and in TV and movies and entertainment and everything about feeling at peace. There's a certain Billie Eilish who got caught up in a commercial pulling that stunt for money. Feel, because of an outward appearance sticker on the outside of the business. Do I believe this because it's me, or because it was what I was taught? Yeah, I went over in that video. You have to reevaluate everything the church taught you. Everything. Not just the added Mormon mythology of the premortal council in heaven from Saturday's Warrior, or Saturday Night's Warrior, or whatever it's called, where Mormons say, oh yeah, we were predestined, foreordained to be together forever. I'm waiting for my eternal companion. You know, he doesn't realize it yet. He's still wicked. But when he realizes that I'm the one that was foreordained for him, And then others, Benson comes out, no blessing will be deprived to any faithful Mormon. And so women say, oh, okay, then I'll pass on all these earth scum and wait for the resurrection where I will be given the perfect man for my perfect happiness in my perfect eternity with the perfect pictures and decorations. Do you not see? All of that needs to go. The whole concept of, oh, my kid doesn't want to go to church. They're now evil. We have to take away their agency and force them. It's for their better good. Because we need to be an eternal family, and they're disgracing me and embarrassing me in the church. It's all about me. And it just drives a deeper wedge in the family unity. Destroys the family. Rips them to shreds. Because the prophets gave you the wedge to drive in your family. And it's called the Family Proclamation. Kimball did a version of it too, and others. Benson did versions of it, and previous prophets. It was Hinckley who made it a worldwide thingy. Green, Gaerte, and 2 of the 5 siblings have left the church. She says, our parents raised us as strong individuals. You mean fascists, Nazis, Satanists, who can think for themselves? You think for yourselves, don't you? You just revealed you weren't thinking for yourself. You were indoctrinated. Your parents indoctrinated you. And so now you think that their teaching of Mormon indoctrination is what caused you to have strength to leave. Because you were thinking for yourself. No. I did. I rebelled. That's how you come to the realization. She had to be compelled to believe the truth through tragedy. I humbled myself as a rebel. No! Don't you dare take away my TV time. I will watch what I want to watch. And I did the video. She put me in front of the TV as a toddler because Todd had colic, so she had to spend all her day with him. And so TV became my educator. Didn't feel edified. There's part of that indoctrination I told you about. Justin Green, Jeff's younger brother, served a mission in Guatemala, married in a temple, and was fully engaged for most of his life. Well, I thought he was married. About 10 years ago, he started to realize that he was going to church and not enjoying it. Not feeling spiritually nourished. Again, it's that outward appearance. You're going through the motions. You're listening to people who don't know the doctrine piece together a talk that you're just going, what the hell are you talking about? And so, yes, he didn't feel edified. And then the prophets come out and say, it's because you're evil. You are the problem. If you don't feel the Spirit, we need to make church shorter so that you'll appreciate it. I didn't feel connected to the people. Yeah, because Mormons are fake. Hello? It's all an outward appearance. Or a sense of community. Doctrinal discussions were never deep. You mean nobody dared speak up and say, no, that's false? And then you get a heated argument over whether it's true or false. I was shut down. Me. Can you imagine that? By the teacher before the lesson even began. I was talking to another Mormon before Sunday school began, and she was up there preparing the outward appearance for her lesson. And he was talking to me about one particular thing pertaining to the lesson, and then I pointed out another thing from the Joseph Smith translation about how the daughters of the sons of God were the wicked ones. And she stopped, looked at me, and got furious. If you can't be silent during this lesson, you should leave. I think I had to leave. And so, yeah, I never went back. She's going to be a bitch. Dear God. It was in there. You can find it for yourself. Shall we go over it? And David Gaunt also got furious. I soon found out it's because his daughter was engaged to go through the temple. Come on, guys. Okay, there began sons and daughters. We are the sons of God. Have we not taken unto ourselves daughters of men? Made known things, sons and daughters. I am the son of God. Believe in me. Believe in the sons. That's sons and daughters. We're sons and daughters of God. It has to be in 8 somewhere here. Okay, and in those days there were giants on the earth. This is verse 18 from Moses 8. And they sought Noah to take away his life, but the Lord was with Noah, and the power of the Lord was upon him. And the Lord ordained Noah after his order. Which order? Jesus' order, right? Couldn't be Amen. Fake God. That's not the Mormon God. And commanded him that he should go forth and declare his gospel of children of men, even as it was given unto Enoch. And it came to pass that Noah called upon children of men to repent. Nope, it is earlier. There it is. Yep, here it is. Verse 13. And Noah and his sons hearkened unto the Lord, and gave heed, and they were called the sons of God. And when these men, sons of God, began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, the sons of men saw that those daughters were hot. Calls it fair and delightsome. Men are that they might have joy, or any other name, or by any other name by which they may be called. And they took them wives, even as they chose. Oh, they get to chose? It wasn't arranged marriages. Yay. And the Lord said unto Noah, the daughters of thy sons have sold themselves. Prostitution, prostitution, prostitution. For behold, mine anger is kindled against the sons of men, for they will not hearken to my voice. And I have to leave for pointing out the Word of God through a true prophet, Joseph Smith, who constantly is told he's wrong by the current church. His doctrines are false, and so they have to be removed from the Doctrine and Covenants and replaced with others like polygamy. Joseph was wrong to have monogamy. Yep, fun times. It was a cause of friction in my life. It wasn't working for me. Yeah, I mean, faith is deep, and Mormons, nope, I'm not going to get involved with deep doctrine. I'm just going to focus on the basics: faith, repentance, spiritual witness, so that nobody can judge me. I can go through this whole development of indoctrination in the church on how the prophets have led Mormons to this point, sabotaging Mormons. They purposely are trying to get rid of Mormons. They're purging Mormons from the church. They don't need us. They don't need our money anymore. And so now's the time of purging. And once they purge us, yeah, who's going to stop them? They're going to be able to do whatever they want, because there's no more activists against the church, because everybody left. No more saying, well, if only the church would change. I think the church should do this with their money. You know, there's still those Mormons who are doing those videos trying to get the church to change. They're not, guys. They're purposely tanking the church so that they can run it their way without molestation and dare to molest and people trying to make them afraid, like those women. We want to be treated as human. No, it's not God's design. It's not in God's plan. It's not His program. If you don't like it, leave. That's literally how they want it. They want this exodus. This is going right to their plan. Because destruction's coming, guys. And then the church can start all over again. Oh, look at us. Yeah, we knew all about this. We've changed history to be more faith-promoting and correct. No more Book of Mormon. No more Doctrine and Covenants. No more Joseph Smith. It'll be about Brigham and his religious freedom struggle. That will be the name of his book. Brigham Young, My Religious Freedom Struggle. The German version, I don't know religious freedom in German. I only know there was this one author who did a book about his struggle. Justin has found his own moral compass in the past few years. He's examined more about the church and its teachings. Have you been paying attention to my videos, Justin? Has YouTube allowed you to see me? That he couldn't answer any of the temple recommend questions in the prescribed way to be deemed worth. I did that video! Justin, no! When the bishop asks you if there's any sins or anything that has not been resolved with previous priesthood leaders, you say, no, give me my temple recommend so that I can be married for time and all eternity and have the picture perfect life. Ignore all the contradictions about having faith and a testimony at the same time. And paying a full tithe as worthiness? Or affiliating with any organization that teaches contrary to the church. Joseph's church or this church? Because the General Handbook, which Nelson released, says that I can be a member of the Satanic Church and still get a temple recommend. You don't belong to that, do you? Well, our church has the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. Is this not the church? Justin decided to join the others in resigning. He says because when outsiders find out he's from Utah. Yep. And like I did in the video this morning, wouldn't it be wild if Barbara Bacoli had the scriptwriters put in the scene where I saw James Bond meeting with Felix in the bar, and Bond would say something like, the Book of Mormon having government intelligence information, and wouldn't that be cool to have that put in that Bond movie? We'll have to watch it and see if it does. And so he says, I don't want to be associated with it. I don't think it's as open and embracing as it should be. But he adds with a laugh, he still loves BYU football. Oh, dude, no, Utes. If you're not familiar, there's a rivalry in Utah that's lasted for decades. I had a bishop in Southern California, Polynesian, who had purchased tickets every year to go to key BYU games, especially the BYU Utes game, and takes his whole family up to Utah to attend the game. I got word he died. I think it was on my mission, or not on my mission, while I was married in Canada to the first wife. I believe I heard that from somebody. Yeah, he tried to tell me that R-rated movies were bad, and that instead of punishing me and denying me a mission, that I should give him in a box, a package box. Can't think of what it's called. And that he would take it and dispose of it for me. Sure you would. Again, all idol worship that is being perpetuated by bishops. R-rated movies are not bad. Movies can be bad, but that's because of the acting and text. You know, it has protagonists, antagonists. Are the antagonists the good guys who are being represented as bad, or the protagonists who are supposed to be the good guys, are they being represented as bad, and so thus setting a bad example? Now, you can't factor in nutcases that will watch Star Wars, for example, and instead of wanting to be Luke Skywalker or Han Solo to determine who gets to kiss Leia, Instead, you got people who want to be Sith Lords. Dear God. I'm a Sith Lord. I'm of the Sith Order. I have resurrected the religion, and we will follow it strictly. I can refer you to the 9 Gates with Captain Jack Sparrow. Johnny Depp. Dear God. Something was not clicking. Oh, let's see. Doug Whitmore is Jeff's closest cousin in age and lived across the street in West Jordan. Yes, we're all related. We all live next to each other. It's just a big mafia state. A mafia family state. The two were inseparable for years. By all accounts, had a wonderful childhood in their Latter-day Saint community. Ah! I killed a small animal. I shot one of the sisters in our ward. You hear about that tragedy? She survived. Dear God. Her Mormon peers lured her to skip school to go into this gully trench water system that had no water apparently. And there they planned premeditatively to shoot her and leave her for dead. And they shot her, but she survived. And I just want to cry. That's Mormon childhood. There were still aspects of faith that troubled him. Yeah. Let's find out her name. Utah girl who was shot in the head graduates 3 years after. Man arrested in fatal shooting of 7-year-old girl. That's a different shooting. 3 men arrested in fatal shooting of 7-year-old girl. Orem woman allegedly shot in the face by a police officer. Teen who survived shot to the head gets a robotic device. That's the girl. Deseret.com. Oh. Well, yeah, that's her. Desiree Turner. Whoops. Wait a minute. No! 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 Okay, so this Doug Whitmore says something was not clicking for me intuitively. Yeah, your spiritual witness was telling you something. He works in Dallas, financial services in Dallas. I am having trouble seeing. I'm leaking. It was pragmatic, but I could never buy into the religious concepts. Yeah, the magical healing. The healing power of coronavirus magic. Gratitude. Gratitude will cure you of all your ills. You don't need a mask. Just the healing power of gratitude. 12 million views. Dear God, YouTube. So he didn't go on a mission. The first male in his extended family not to serve. From then on, he was blazing. Peggy. Peggy. After that, everyone in the family, including Jeff, treated him, well, differently. A lot of them wouldn't talk to me for years. My neighbors. And that still persists to this day. Again, it's a fake facade of Mormons. You have to be loyal to the church, otherwise you're the enemy. You would think they would have the opposite reaction, he says, by fighting to get me back. I did the videos with Joseph talking about this. If they thought that I was delusional, that they would have sought in an affectionate and kind manner to reclaim me. Mormons don't do that. They don't follow Joseph. They don't lead by examples of being Christ-like. They want to be Satanistic. They want to follow the example of Satan. They want his plan of happiness to force on everyone. It took a long time to rebuild a relationship with his parents. Are you sure you got one? But he was finally able to have tender Peggy. That's Peggy's baggage. She's falling victim to the indoctrination in Mormonism about the tender mercies of the Lord. So you can see Peggy still has the baggage. Overfishing with his dad shortly before his father died of pancreatic cancer in 2018. I respect everyone who is Mormon. I don't. They would shoot their own Mormon friends just for fun. They think murder, rape, theft is no big deal because they're Mormon. And treat them as I would want to be treated. The core of all religion is being good to human beings. You'd think that, wouldn't you? Apparently you don't know your history of the world. Religion has been the major cause of the bloodshed in the world. Not a woman, as some have tried to portray. Helen of Troy. But no, religion, holy wars. My God is better than your God, and we will prove it by destroying you. Our God is the God of love, and we must force you to obey him. Love her as I love her, and there will be joy. Liar! Queen of ill-putrescence. I wasn't crying. Nope, I'm back on the happy trail. I'm blazing a happy trail. She did not cover it as to whether or not he had a family, or whether he was loaning it, or with some other partner. Peggy. His pioneer pedigree. Pedigree is the pet food for dogs. Had ensigns, angles. Yeah, Brigham Young's brother-in-law, who was told to design the inverted pentagrams on Nauvoo, Logan, and Salt Lake temples. And Woolies in his family tree. And a Mormon penchant for obsessiveness. Jeff Green once saw himself working full-time to inculcate faith in teens as a seminary teacher. Wow, they allowed you that in Utah, huh? That's like a covenanted position, like leadership in the church in Utah. You have to be friends or family of somebody who's already in leadership to get into leadership. You have to move out. Venture, California, or Ventura, California? Is this a typing error, Peggy? Now I have to find out. It's a typing error. Yeah. Huh. When did you go? How old are you? How old are you? Jeff T. Green. So now I have to find out how old he is. I'm sure he has a Wikipedia page. He's on Forbes, Salt Lake Tribune. Jeff T. Green. 1977. Interesting. So, mission would have been 19. That would have been 96. That's when, in August, I came to Utah after being in Canada. So my grandmother was already dead. Grandfather would still be. When did he move to Utah? Well, my grandpa was living in the condo by then. If he had not already moved to. No, he wouldn't have been in Utah yet. No, yeah. I think he came up after. Maybe. He married Patsy while he was up here. Can't remember. It's been too long. Ernest Young, proselytizer, even tried to convert a Catholic priest. Oh, that missionary. You tricky guy. You hear all sorts of stories. Oh yeah, I found David Bowie. I gave him a Book of Mormon. You hear all that stuff, especially in New York. Dear God, everybody was coming up with something to try to outdo the others. I did battle with evil spirits. Did I tell you about that, or was that one of the videos that didn't get released? It was Justin Arntz, or Justin Arntz, Joseph Arntz, Joseph Arntz. Yeah, he claimed he was possessed of the devil, and I went over there with Stephen Ames, DJ for little teen girls, and that's what he does. I hope he's moved up, but he's told me, you know, he likes being with little girls. He showed a picture of his Porsche, and when I saw him after, and I moved here, and he no longer had the Porsche. He had moved on from the Porsche. But yeah, we went over there. He wouldn't do the blessing. He did the anointing, and I began the blessing, and then the guy collapsed. He was burning internally. What are you doing to me? I'm burning! The man of cloth was kind enough to offer a listening ear, but had no intention of switching faiths. A fact which eluded the idealistic missionary who was convinced he was on God's side. So everybody talks with a Catholic priest or some other Christian priest. I'm sure I did. I know I did, actually. I was with the organist. Followed by Baxter, who was my missionary MTC companion. Cofer had us finish together. The guy brought a lock-picking set with him, and we broke into the branch president's office so that we can begin our work that we were sent there by Cofer to do. But he would take me around to all the various cathedrals all over New York where he would play the organ, and he tried to explain it to me as if I was not going to allow him. Are you kidding? Almost had it. But yeah, it was awesome. I was in St. Patrick's Cathedral, and I met lots of the Catholic priests as a result of him, whom I cannot remember his name offhand. McFarland. Sean McFarland. Ah, laddie. Sean McFarland. The luck of the Irish be to ye, laddie. I'm more Scottish than Irish. The man of the cloth was I read that. Because of his zeal and certainty. No, Peggy. It's not certainty. People reinforce their beliefs. It's not doing the process of manifesting in the flesh. Changed his life. I had a clear sense of purpose, that what you're doing echoes in the eternities. Yeah, because Mormons are indoctrinated into that false teaching. I felt like I was creating a rich eternal life for others. Yeah. And you're not. You're teaching others to be idol worshippers, to have an outward appearance of righteousness. The thoughtful scholar, BS, eventually moved from religious education to earn a degree in English literature. I can tangent on that one. I've done the videos. Then went on to study marketing communication at the University of Southern California. Oh, you got a real education, finally. As Green was building his career as an entrepreneur of online advertising, I was told go to USC by my basketball coaches. And even if I went to a college, I could work into the University of Southern California, USC. And they even took me there. And then I told them, yeah, I'm going to Rick's. Rick's? Do they have a basketball team? Memories. You do notice, as we're over an hour on this video, going on 2, I think, there's 3 segments I got to remember to put in so far. This is just a memory lane thing. This is just a general thing. I covered the initial stuff at the beginning, so if anybody's still listening, hey, what's up? Green was building his career. He began to scrutinize. Uh-oh. See, he left Utah and fell away from the church and began to scrutinize Mormon history, starting with his ancestors. Yeah, you've got a terrorist in your family line who put the inverted pentagram all over the place. Dear God. And polygamy. Yeah, you're blaming Joseph Smith, I bet. Then he moved on to church founder. Oh. Okay, you're disassociating polygamy and Joseph? Good for you. Reported first vision. Yeah, because we're Christian with Jesus. Right? And other aspects of the official narrative about the past, finding contradictions along the way. I had a contradiction with the first vision as a kid, first hearing about it. I'm like, wait a minute. He was able to see God and Jesus face to face in the flesh? How is that possible? It's not supposed to be possible. I didn't realize the whole concept about Jesus in the first place. I was still recognizing problems with the narrative that Joseph Smith is recorded as having given to us. And even though his original one has some differences from the 1838 version, thanks to Willard Richards, who shot him in the back, still the same concept, no Jesus, that led him to a more thorough exploration of church teachings and what he viewed as troubling aspects of the faith structure and sociology. Yeah, the church doesn't want this. They just say, stick to what we give you to read. Do not branch out into the sciences to find out the truth. Because the church isn't true. You know, I was told up in Canada, going to the University of Lethbridge, in my first wife's hometown, which is actually McGrath, because Lethbridge denied Mormons, and so the Mormon settlers had to settle in towns the certain kilometers away from Lethbridge. That's why it's designed the way it is up there. And the institute instructors found out that I was going into philosophy of science courses. And I was warned by them, don't do it. Others who have gone in have all lost their testimony. If learning truth causes me to lose my testimony, I didn't have a testimony. And so I went in, I found out that the Catholic Church is not true, that Constantine's creation of Jesus from the Nicene Creed was definitely not only an abomination, but was the design of Lucifer himself. Dear God, that was the paper I did. How Constantine's Jesus is actually Luciferian. Such research ultimately drained his convictions of the church's truth claims that they keep changing. It's like new and improved church history. Now with more percentage of truth. Trust us. Again, step aside. I'll do your advertising for you. The most positive part of our childhood, which is interesting because advertising is all about using fallacy to manipulate the audience into purchasing the products. Using psychological manipulation developed by psychos. And that brought down the church, huh? Cool. The weapon used by the church was used to destroy the church. Purim. Never let a woman down. Queen Esther. The most positive part, I knew an Esther in New York. She lived in the ghettos. Or the projects, technically. There were the separate towers of projects, and she was in one of those. Was it the Bronx? Yeah, it was the Bronx. Her name was Esther. I remember. I didn't realize how tough she had it there, and how strong of a woman she was. Man, did I have a crush that was forbidden. I had to hold it in. But thankfully, my mission companion wanted to constantly visit her and her family. The most positive part of our childhood wasn't the strong connection we had with our parents, but to the community. 44-year-old says, yeah, you're a little kid, 7 years away. I am deeply grateful to that community and its amazing people, including my ancestors who made great sacrifices in the name of God and the community. You've got a lot of baggage still to remove. And here's, I think, following a final quote. Yeah. Believing Mormons, following the lead of church leadership, often accuse those who leave of doing so for simple or petty or even demonic reasons. This is not my story. I stopped believing and attending out of principle for the same reasons. That the church was being simple, petty, and even demonic. He recognized the projection. Good for you. But you still have a ways to go.